everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. And today we are talking with another writer. We love talking with writers on this show. And today we're talking the screenwriter for Just Jake. We're talking with Jaimie Engle. And thank you so much, Jaimie, for coming on the podcast.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me, Rachel. I'm excited.
Yeah, this is so fun. I'm so glad you reached out. And what we like to do with new guests is we like to give you a chance to introduce yourself and tell us what inspired you to get into writing.
Awesome. So I write books, I write now films, poetry, really bad Shel Silverstein copycat poetry was what started it all. But mostly I say that I write stories with a magic touch because that encompasses my rom-coms, my fantasy books for kids, and everything really in between. And what got me into writing, honestly, I was reading Alice in Wonderland when I was very little. And there was this moment, Rachel, where I was not in my room anymore. I was so engrossed in the story that I left the world. And then I remember gasping, and then I was back in my room and I said, okay, I want to do that for other people. That was the coolest feeling ever.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that started it.
So you were a big reader growing up?
Yes, I loved reading. And then I would actually read and watch the same stuff over and over again. Like I read Mary Poppins and Alice in Wonderland and Narnia a billion times. And I watched Back to the Future and Grease and Alice in Wonderland, a handful of stuff over and over again. And I guess I was kind of teaching myself story without even really knowing that's what I was doing.
Yeah, I was the same, watching Sleeping Beauty over and over again, Cinderella. Those were some of my favorites when I was a little kid. And then, The Little Mermaid came out and I was obsessed.
Oh my gosh, yes, that was the greatest movie when it came out. Like nothing better ever.
Yeah.
So that's fun times.
Yeah, and the really random one I watched over and over again growing up is The Sound of Music.
Oh my gosh.
On repeat.
Girl, we are like literal soul sisters. I dressed up, we had company over. This is my life. In 5th grade, I dressed up in like a denim vest and matching skirt. I grabbed a suitcase and my flutophone.
Oh no.
And put this song on, and I started dancing around in front of all of these people that my parents were entertaining. So
You're like, I have confidence in sunshine. Yes. That's so funny. I mean, when you think about it, it's like a really heavy and long movie, for so like a little really kid to be like
topics. But as a kid, you're just engrossed in, the music and the acting. And for sure, the story was great.
Yes, it's so good. It's still one of my favorites to this day.
Agreed.
Yeah, I still love it, and it's one of the few examples of when the movie is significantly better than the Broadway play.
Yes, I have to agree with you.
Yeah. They took
really
things out, they moved things around, they just made it better.
Yeah, totally. You couldn't do it all on the stage. There's some stuff you can pull off, but I agree with you. This one was pretty how can you do the Swiss Alps on a stage? You can't. You just can't.
Well, and they in the play, Max and the Baroness are a lot more duplicitous than they are in the movie. Those 2 songs are no good.
No,
I mean, they're not good songs in general, but they make their characters a lot more devious.
Yes, agreed. Agreed.
Yeah. Well, we could do a whole podcast.
I know, we totally could.
Childhood movies. Yeah. So how did you get started actually writing though? So you were really into reading, and then were you the kind of person who sort of scribbled writing as a kid, or how did that get started?
Yes. So when I was younger, I'd say 8, maybe even younger, maybe 7, I really did write that bad Shel Silverstein poetry. I would write short stories in rainbow colors. It was very important to me. I just loved it. I just loved storytelling. I pretended that I had like a newspaper. So I would take a piece of paper and just make it look like, different articles and continue on page 6, and there was none. But I would take Jane and Michael on adventures because I knew Mary Poppins so well. So I could take those characters and just create them different worlds for them. And really that was it until I think like third or fourth grade. My school had a contest, and it was like teaching personal hygiene to kids. So I invented Mr. and Mrs. Moeller, and they had this really silly poem about taking care of your teeth. And as an adult, it won for my school. I won first place, and then it went to the Florida state competition, and I won first place for the state of Florida.
What?
I know. So as an
I was like, we need to
adult,
call the American Dental Association to get
yeah, well,
involved.
I kind of did. As an
Yeah.
adult, I called the Florida Dental Association, and they have a magazine, and it was the first fiction, poem that they ever published in their magazine, and it became my very first publication.
No way.
So if you're a writer, like, save your stuff, because you never
Yeah.
know when you might actually publish.
Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
So
Yeah.
did you go to school, and what was the process like for you getting that first book published?
I did not go to school for writing. I did go to school and just get my associates, and that was where I stopped. But I have such a journey. Like, I should have stopped a long time ago, Rachel, but this is the proof in the pudding of why
Yeah.
you don't give up. My first book I got is called Clifton Chase and the Arrow of Light. It's a middle grade Harry Potter meets Narnia type story, but with real history and bullying. I found a publisher. It was my 98th rejection. Number 99 was a publisher that said yes. So I was super excited. Very excited. And like a month out, I reached out to the publisher and I was like, should we be doing marketing? And the publisher said, I am walking into a woman's shelter. I am out of commission for 6 weeks, and hung up on me. Whether that was true or not, we will never know. But she was MIA. So I had to figure out how to self-publish my book, like, because I owed mommy bloggers 50 copies for giveaways and whatnot. So that's how it all started. And I immediately became an independently published author, which I never wanted to do. It's a lot of work. I just wanted to write, and that was it. So fast forward 10 years, I've always wanted to write movies. And so that like journey taught me a lot about marketing and publicity and editing, and just getting my craft of storytelling better, because I needed it. And then in 2020, I met a guy who had a bestie in California who was an entertainment attorney. In December of 2020, he said, "Do you have any rom-coms, like strong female lead Hallmark?" And so I said, naturally, let me see what I have. Never having written a screenplay or romance ever. And because that's what you do, right? You go, let me see what I have in my imaginary bag of nothing.
Because I was looking at your books and I'm like, there are no rom-coms, and there are not many.
No, ma'am. Well, Metal Mouth is my closest. It's like a paranormal romance. A girl wears braces. They start transmitting a boy's voice in her head, and she has to see if he's real or not. So that's like my
clever.
closest. Yeah. It was a dream. I woke up laughing and knew I had to tell that story. But that's my closest rom-com. Yeah. Or not rom-com, a romance book. So I took a class that weekend that I spoke to the attorney on how to write the Christmas rom-com through Story Summit. had an idea, spent January, February writing the script, wrote 2 scripts actually, sent them both, and they liked the second one, which was called A Star of Bethlehem, PA, about a country music singer who goes back home and falls back in love with his high school sweetheart.
Uh-huh.
And so that was February of 2021. They said, we like this, we want to buy it. And then in August, I get a call from Brandon, who I've never spoken to before. I just saw Los Angeles on the call ID, so I answered it. And he was like, hey, our investors don't want Christmas anymore. Could you do anything with the scripts you've sent us that's not Christmas? And then Just Jake, Oktoberfest, which is in the book, didn't make it to the screen, which is totally cool. And so fast forward to 2022, I get a contract. We film in December, like November, December. And now here we are on Up TV, all because I said, let me see what I have in my bag.
Yeah. Yeah. And just saying yes.
Yes, 10
Always
years
saying
later.
yes.
Yeah, 10 years of going, God, why did you give me this skill? Why am I doing this? Why am I trying to sell books that nobody knows who I am? Like, it's so difficult to be discovered. And then it all comes to this moment of Just Jake. And I'm like, so glad that I didn't give up.
That's awesome. So would you say you're a pantser or a plotter?
I am now a plotter. I do pants a lot in my head and then get it on the page, but I have definitely found that writing out the whole story, especially as a screenwriter, getting the whole story on paper, I can actually go sell that now and not write the whole script and then get paid to write the script, which is mind-blowing to me that that's even a thing. Like, I feel like I'm in Willy Wonka's Candyland, you know. But it really, I find it definitely helps. And then you go off track, you know. I mean, you let your characters tell their story and then you adjust the synopsis to match so it all makes sense. But having that map really helps me to make sure that I've got the whole story arc on paper before I start to actually write it.
Was it hard for you to adjust to writing for the 9-act structure of these TV movies with the television spots and everything?
You know, it was tricky to learn. So yes. However, like my bestie likes to say, being a novelist, it's just like leaving cliffhangers, you know. So I kind of feel like I already just do that naturally. It's like dun dun dun, commercial break, you know. So I kind of got the feel for it pretty quick. But yes, it was definitely totally different than the Save the Cat 3-act structure that I've always done in books, just, you know, right off the bat.
Yeah. That's very interesting. So how did you get this idea for Just Jake? You said it was originally a Christmas idea.
Yes.
But what drew you to the idea of the country singer coming back to the hometown sort of story?
So I have another best friend who's also in Virginia, and him and I we always spitball ideas, and I have so much fun like mapping out stories with him and vice versa. And we were on a call going over, well, what should I write? What do I do? And I had already written one script that I liked, and that's now being shopped. It's called Midway to Christmas. And
good title.
Yeah, it's about the Leon Day celebration, smack dab in the middle that nobody ever talks about. So,
in the middle of the Christmas season?
No, it's the June 25th, I think. It's Leon Day, and it's midway to Christmas.
Oh my gosh, they need to do that for Christmas in July.
Thank you. I was like, Christmas in July is fake. Leon Day is not. So I am going to create a whole new genre of rom-coms called the Midway to Christmas rom-com. So that's that. Because we need it, right? We need quarterly Christmas, midway Christmas. So I'm on the phone with him, and I had that story going. It was called Santa Summit at the time. And he goes,
another good title.
That's another story. It'll come out, I promise.
You're good with the titles.
Yeah, I got those down now, thank God. Not so much in the books. My husband, he picks most of my book titles because I don't know, can't do that well at all.
Well, your husband's good at picking titles.
Yes, for sure. So so he said, have you ever heard of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania? Because him and I were in show choir and musical theater and all that in high school together. And I said, no, I've not heard of that. And he said, what about the Star of Bethlehem, PA? And then like that was all I needed to hear. And then it was like, obviously there's this country music singer coming home, and the whole thing just made sense. And
Mm-hmm.
that was it. It was just the
Yeah.
name of the city, you know?
Yeah. So I'm curious. So you did a second chance romance story.
Mhm.
Of all the different main romance tropes, which one do you think is the hardest to pull off? Enemies to lovers, friends to lovers. You've got forced proximity, second chance
Yeah.
romance, different ones.
Oh,
Fake
that's a
fiance.
great question. Yeah, right. I think the hardest for me, I think the hardest one would be like the first time romance where they
Okay, like love at first sight, kind of.
yeah, like they've never met before. I'm actually trying one of those now. Like Sweet Home Alabama was where I was going with Just Jake. I'm like, I
Yep.
understand that. I
Yep.
can totally do that. But yeah, the like having 98 pages, give or take, to create two imaginary people and make them fall in love for the first time is so scary to me. So I think that is definitely the most challenging.
I think that enemies to lovers is the hardest one to pull off because you have to make the switch at just the right time. Otherwise, the characters are too unlikable and we don't care about them getting together. And,
Right.
because like everybody's trying to be Pride and Prejudice. And the thing that they don't understand about Pride and Prejudice is that everybody in their life loves Lizzie and Darcy. Everybody.
Right.
And so it's just the two of them that don't get along. They're not like
Right.
horrible people.
Right.
And so I think that's really tough, but when it works, it works amazingly well. I think second chance romance, the hard part about that is that can be a little boring if
Sure.
you're not careful, just because they already know each other and there's just
Right.
not like enough conflict, kind of going.
Yeah, no sparks.
And so I think that's the tricky part is
Yeah.
is in that one. And like friends to lovers can be frustrating because it's just like, how stupid are these people? Like it's so
Right.
obvious that this
Come
person's in love with you.
on.
Like, what?
Sparks are flying on that. We can see it.
Yeah.
No, I think, they all have their challenges,
Yeah.
and they're all so relatable because I think we've all been in all of those situations, at some point, or at least we know someone who has, and it's like, you're right. You're on the outside looking in, it is so obvious that these friends to lovers or these enemies to lovers, it's so clear when you're not the protagonist of your own story, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So so you ended up working so they did a rewrite of it with Taylor did a rewrite of that. And so what was that experience like for you to then work and with that?
Yeah. So this is my very first movie. This is my very first credit. It's the first door I've had open. So I sold my script and I kept the book rights because I knew.
Oh, smart.
Yeah, I knew I had no clue what I'm doing for the like actual translation of script to the like studio or to the set. So I'd already met Brandon at the Rama Drama in not St. Petersburg. I can't even remember where it was. Here in mid Florida. That was when Trevor Donovan was going to be Jake. So I met Trevor as well. But he's just such a good dancer. He kept winning every week on Disney. And I think that became a conflict of on Dancing with the Stars. So I think that became a conflict and he wasn't able to, and that's totally my speculation. I've not confirmed that, but I'm very happy that Rob was the replacement though. I think either one of them would have been magic, but I do love that Rob brought that like soft country music feel to the story. So he nailed it. But yeah, like I got the script from Brian Bird, the executive producer, and he said, Taylor did a rewrite. Taylor did a rewrite. So just know that it's still your story. It's going to look very different, but it's still your story. And I'm like, okay, great. So I read the script and I gave myself 2 days to be very mad that my story had been altered. Because I think that's fair, right?
Sure.
You just be honest with your emotions. I gave myself 2 days to be mad, and then that was it. And then I watched the movie, and it was so cool to kind of watch it and see like glimpses and elements of my structure, because it's the same story.
Yeah.
But it was told differently. And like, I'm not there. I don't know the constraints of the budget and what the set actually looks like and how the characters truly interact, and what dialogue I thought was cute sounds stupid when they say it because it doesn't match their vernacular or their personalities and all that. And like the coffee shop that was local that they explored in the movie, that was a diner in the book. Well, it's definitely cheaper to serve coffee than steak and eggs, so I get it. So there were a lot of changes that occurred, and I thought it was so cool to see the collaborative process, because like I said, I've been an indie author. I do everything. I do from idea to the cover to the marketing, like all of it is me. I'm every person in the movie, right? And so it was very, very cool to be part of that collaborative process and know that like I was like the person who did the first map of this house that got built. And so I don't know, that was really cool to have a part in it, and to be able to contribute the backbone for everybody else to bring all of their talents and experience and skills to take what was in my mind and make it like visual. It was
well, and you keep doing this long enough, then you're going to end up rewriting other people. So you'll experience both sides of it eventually.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And like, holding the book rights, I knew that was going to happen. So I asked if I could keep the book rights because I knew they weren't going to necessarily publish, and they were like totally fine with it. And we put it in the contract, and then I found a publisher. So the story in the book follows the original script that I sold to True Brand Entertainment. So it's definitely different from the movie, which good, bad, ugly. I think that's normal, right?
Well, that we didn't realize in our recap that we had thought that, because sometimes on IMDb they put the main writer and then the book writer. Yeah. It's like, it'll say like story by. And so that's what we thought, is that, she's written the book and then Taylor did the script. But I'm glad you're here to kind of correct that, because we were wrong. So totally. You were co-writer on the script, and then now you're making it into a book.
Yes. Yeah, I did it backwards. I like to do things the wrong way. Yes, sure. Yeah, let me see what I have. It's just how I roll. So I did the movie first, and then I got the traditional publisher. So I just find it very funny, Rachel, that I had to really switch mediums and genres to get the traditional publisher, and now here we are. Yeah. And I just love that. I just love, that you have to be willing to pivot, because you just never know what God has planned for you, what doors are going to open to you. And if you aren't capable of pivoting, then you may have a dream, but your path to get there is not working, and you're going to have to just take a different route. So it's been really cool to be to actually see it as it's happening in real time. Because I think a lot of times when cool stuff happens to us, we look back and go, oh, I can see God moving in that, or I can see, how that door opened to this. But I feel like I'm watching it happen and unfold in real time, and it's been so much fun.
Welcome to the Pilot Podcast. My name is BJ.
And my name is Me Too, and we promise this promo is worth it, so please don't skip ahead.
We're two judgy friends who put our judgmental skills to work for you. We review the pilot episodes of new and popular shows, and shows that our listeners request to answer your question, should I watch this?
Look, a lot of us are spending a lot more time at home, and yes, we should be reading and trying new projects and enriching ourselves, but does anything beat binging a great show?
Let us take the guesswork out of deciding what your next show will be. Tune in to The Pilot Podcast at thepilotpodcast.com.
So did Rob and Brittany fit what you had imagined for Jake and I think it's Amber, right?
Yes.
Amber. Yeah.
Yes, they nailed it. They were perfect, and so was Gigi for the sister June. Yeah, it was so good. They really did a perfect job. I always have like a vague image of my mind of what the characters are look like, because I don't think that matters so much as their soul and their spirit coming out. And I totally believe that, those two actors captured exactly what I wanted people to feel when they saw, them come back together, and then their first kiss again, and then their sort of breakup, how these stories go, and then their final, get back together. It was so beautiful, and they did a perfect job.
Yeah, they were really good. I thought they had nice chemistry, and I thought the banter between them was well done. They
Yeah,
did.
totally believable. It's
Yeah,
really good.
yeah. And was he always a country singer from the beginning?
Yes. And I'm not a country music girl, but I don't dislike it. But
Mm-hmm.
that's definitely not my like first music choice. So, but I just saw him, and I just saw him on stage with the hat, like a Garth Brooks kind of feel, and just that big crowd. I think it's because it's such a like Garth Brooks is who I was thinking. It's such an upbeat music, even though the like the typical, oh, I lost my dog, I lost my car, you sound like you're writing a country song. But I don't know, I just feel like the pacing of the music, and then like the vibrato and the stretching of the notes,
Mm-hmm.
and just everything about the country song, there's so much story in it, and
Yeah.
I really feel connected to that being such a good medium for being a visual of their love story in what I knew was going to be a brilliant song at the end that they were going to compose.
Yeah, I think that's what sets country music apart is the storytelling. And it's kind of
Yeah.
sad that in a lot of ways it's gotten pretty generic these days, because really when you look at the greats, even someone like Garth Brooks, like he
Mhm.
tells stories
Right.
through his songs.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
absolutely. And then you look at the album, and the album's a story.
Mhm. Oh yeah, that's true.
I have a 15-year-old, and he listens to music, like he listens to songs, and I just feel so sad that
Yeah.
that bookend of the first song to the last song,
Yeah.
that whole story that's told on the album, that's kind of a gone thing. So
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah, like a good example with Garth Brooks would be Unanswered Prayers.
Yes.
There's a whole story from the beginning to end of that song.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, very good. So one part, and I don't know if this was your part or Taylor's part, but I really enjoyed the whole scene at the church in Just Jake with having her sing Come Thou Fount, which I feel like is a little bit of a more obscure hymn, but one of my favorites. I really
Yeah.
love that
Well,
song.
that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it
so
was
beautiful.
collaborative. That was all him. That was all
Mhm.
him, and probably Brian. I know Brian oversaw the stuff like that, I would imagine, because of his church background.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was all them with that song choice, and the message in the actual church. I had my own variations of both. So yeah, no, it was
Mhm.
beautiful. I get a lot of people mentioning that
Yeah.
particular the church scene.
Well, it's hard to do faith-based content and have it not be heavy-handed, have it
Right.
not be too much of a ministry versus just
Yes.
really letting the characters dictate the scene and the story.
Agreed.
And so I appreciate that when it's done right.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely I feel the same way. So when I wrote the scene, that was my mission. And then they're, you know, like they iron, I give them like a crumpled shirt. It's a great shirt. It was a little crumpled, and they ironed it and made it so
Mhm.
beautiful. So it's a
Mhm.
really good collaboration, I think.
Yeah, it was really good.
Thank
So
you.
now when you're you're bumping off of the movie to write the book, was that challenging, or did you just kind of stick with your original script as far as the story?
Sure. Yeah, no, I stuck with the original script because otherwise, I felt like there was going to be too much in and out of, taking theirs. I'd already contracted with Inspire before their final script was finished, and I got it. So I was already like halfway through my version when they even got me the first final script. So it wouldn't have worked out. I think in like in a moving forward, I would like to have them match a little bit better just as for the audience. But like right now I'm working on a TV show called The Marked that I've optioned. And so I'm writing the novel. So I'm using the screenplay. And to answer your question, how easy is it? It's amazingly easy because it's like the greatest outline ever to write from
Yeah.
script to a book.
Yeah, talk about me a plotter.
Oh yeah, it's great. So you have like, I mean, I'll write 5 or 6 pages for a page and a half of script because you know how it is. You got to go into their heads, and you got to go into
Yeah.
the description of, I can't tell what to wear or what the scene might look like because that's not my job as a screenwriter.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, Hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
But in the story, I have to put all those details in, obviously. So yeah, it's definitely, I love going from writing the script first and then adapting that into a larger work. It really makes it easier.
That's cool. Well, we like to end our interviews with some fun get to know you questions.
Okay.
So first question, what is the best ice cream flavor?
Vanilla.
It's so funny because there was this other movie on Up TV, When Flowers Bloom or something like that. Anyway, and there's this whole thing where her assistant is lambasting her for picking vanilla cake with vanilla frosting. And your life is just so vanilla. And I'm like, vanilla is actually really expensive and like a totally valid flavor choice.
With rainbow sprinkles. Okay, just add the rainbow sprinkles.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right. What is your favorite color?
My favorite color is blue.
Very good. Okay. What music are you into right now?
I love the Whitney Houston "I Want to Dance with Somebody" Pandora station. It's like
Nice.
my 80s Friday jam. Like I have trouble working because it starts playing and I just want to just dance around a little bit and then sit back down.
You know what's weird is that I used to be able to have music playing doing any activity.
Right.
I mean, especially when I was like a teenager, but
Mhm.
even like, and even when I was in my 20s, 30s, but something happened, I swear, during the pandemic where I lost that ability. I
Oh, yeah.
cannot have music on and do anything else.
Like
It's so
not
weird.
even instrumental, like not even
Like, I guess, yeah,
sound-
there's some like
okay.
instrumental, but my
No
mind just
words.
wanders,
Huh.
which is so
Interesting.
weird.
It is
Definitely a
weird.
change.
Interesting. I like
Yeah.
that. That's a
But
cool tip,
instrumental
good tip.
or like, yeah, stuff like Enya or something I could
Mhm.
probably have on.
Yeah.
But man, my mind just goes.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Well, I mean, I do get up and dance, so maybe I shouldn't.
You're like, all of a sudden, why am I writing all these dance scenes into my stories? All right. What is your go-to date night food?
Always pick tacos.
Yeah.
I feel like if you can eat tacos, make a mess in front of somebody and they're cool with it, they're a keeper.
Yeah. Then you should write that into a story because that is absolutely true. I mean,
you're right.
it's the same thing with pasta. If you can eat spaghetti in front of someone and they still love
Yes.
you,
Yes.
winner.
Keeper.
Yeah. Okay. What is your go-to date night activity if you're going out and doing something?
Gosh, we like the movies. I mean, that we're obviously movie buffs.
Mhm, mhm,
And I also do like to go bowling. I'm really
mhm.
bad at it. But I have a really good, like some really good moves that are
Mhm.
awful. Mhm. Yep. Like I
I
probably should use the bumpers, but
I'm like extremely random when it comes to bowling. Like every once in a
Okay.
while I'll have like a great night but then I'll be like gutter ball the whole time.
yeah, like the gutter and I are friends and we shouldn't
Yeah.
be, but we are.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah. All right. I do have one theory though about this as far as the movie date.
Yeah.
I think the best movies to see on a date, because you don't want to see a romance because that's a lot of pressure.
It's presumptuous,
Yeah, it is. But I think go to a movie that's just like a little bit scary. Not like
Yes.
murder gore fest, but like
Right.
just a little, like a thriller, maybe a
Yes.
little scary. And just enough that you have to like cuddle a little bit.
I
Right?
totally agree with you. 100%.
Yeah.
I think
Like-
that's a winner.
Yeah. Like there was this movie called Crawl a while back about this girl
yes.
stuck in the crawl space with this crocodile. And that's the perfect date movie.
That is an awful scenario too, like petrifying. But yes, but not like super scary because you're not sitting there going, gosh, you know.
Yeah, you're not
is
like
that gonna
getting
happen to
nightmares
me?
or whatever.
Yeah, like you're never going to be in your crawl space. If you are, there's not going to be a crocodile. So like you're okay. But yeah, I agree
it
with
is the ideal date
little bit of tension.
movie. Yes.
Not too much.
Yeah. So you learn to hear, folks.
Right.
All right. Which do you like better, dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Okay, good. Which do you like better, beaches or mountains?
Ooh. I live near the beach and I never go, so I'm gonna pick mountains.
Okay, good. Oh, I love the beach so much, but I live near mountains, so it's the same
So
story.
we should do like a
Yeah.
like a 2-week swap every year.
Yeah. I'm available.
Me too. Let's do it.
Okay. All right. What is your favorite holiday to celebrate?
I believe it or not, Thanksgiving is my absolute favorite.
Mhm.
My favorite moment of the year is when Santa comes. I'm gonna cry. When Santa comes down on the parade and waves, because then I know like it's all on. Like the whole holiday season has begun when you see Santa, and it's my favorite part of the year when Macy's parade.
It's a good moment. And so I went on screen drafts for their favorite Hallmark draft thing. And I suggested Love at the Thanksgiving Day Parade as one of my picks, which is an amazing Hallmark movie. And they were like fighting me and saying it's not a Christmas movie. And I'm just like, what? The most iconic part of the parade is what you're saying with Santa at the end. And it's the start of the Christmas season is Thanksgiving.
Correct. And when you see Santa on the parade, it's like he's doing the ribbon cutting for Christmas. You know, like that.
Yeah. They
ridiculous.
literally have the lead character of the movie wearing a Santa suit and is the Santa at the end of the parade.
Okay. So but I guess this is that same argument of whether or not Die Hard is a Christmas movie, which it obviously is.
It absolutely is.
But there are people that don't agree with us, and we still like them.
How can you have it not be a Christmas movie when he literally says ho 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 in the movie? I mean, come on.
And all the music is Christmas. Like
plus the entire plot really revolves around Christmas and a Christmas party.
Exactly.
And him coming to see his wife for Christmas.
Christmas traffic. It's all yes.
Yeah.
Yep. We just solved so many problems in the world. Just right here.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Last question. What is your favorite Hallmark or romantic movie?
Well, right now it's going to have to be Just Jake.
Yeah. That's okay. You can pick your own. No shame. Yeah,
that's my favorite today. I actually enjoyed all of the True Brand Entertainment films. I went back and watched them all on Up TV. And they were all very cute. If you have not watched all of them, I think I'm the third one of theirs, maybe the fourth.
Let's see.
I think they did
Engagement Plot,
Engagement Plot,
Happy Camper.
Happy Camper.
Love that.
Yeah, me too. That was really cute.
Yeah, that was really good. And well, in Engagement Plot, our friend Jacqueline Collier is in that one. So
she's my friend too. I met her at Rama Drama.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's the best. Yeah,
we
really her and I recapped all of Sex and the City together, and so we had so much fun. Yeah, it was so fun. Yeah. Well, very good. You did it. You answered all the questions.
Yay. I'm sweating over here.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing what you do, and we'll definitely have you back because this was super fun. And if people want to follow you on social or that kind of thing, how do they do that?
My name right there on the bottom of my screen at Jaimie Engle Writes. That's where I'm at on social. And the book for Just Jake the novel is pre-order right now on Amazon. And if you just search Just Jake, Jaimie Engle, or Just Jake Engle, you'll see the movie and the book pop up.
We'll put
So-
affiliate link in the description.
Yeah,
also.
that'd be great. Perfect.
That'd be
And
great.
yeah, and you can just go right through Amazon to get to Up TV to watch the movie. If you haven't watched it yet. And if
Yeah.
you have, please post a review.
Yes.
You need them.
Yeah.
They help.
Yeah.
They really help the analytics for other people who, don't know about you to find you. So it helps everybody out.
Cool. Good. Yeah, everybody should definitely do that. And you can follow me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. Check that out. Also, make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Podcast, all over the place. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. That really helps us a lot. It only takes a second of your time. If you're watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. And then we also have our Patreon group, which is definitely worth your time and a ton of fun. And we have the merch store where we have lots of fun designs, and we're working on some new stuff for the summer. So check that out over there. And thanks so much, Jaimie. This was a blast. And we'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Thanks, Rachel. Bye, guys.